Hey, Javi, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good. You're doing great in spite of the result, or you're happy with the turnaround?
In spite of the result, yeah, football aside,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, what's
yeah,
your
guys, just
thoughts?
very disappointing today. Very
Yeah.
disappointed today.
Well, because you felt we should have wiped the floor with them.
Yeah, I think that we look at listen. I don't think Chelsea's a bad team in terms of their players, and I think that under Poch eventually they will get things right. But it's something I've said before. When we were early on in our process and we had good players, but we were still trying to get things right. When title contenders came to our ground, they wiped the floor with us. So we've been doing that to Chelsea in recent years. We've won, I think, the last 3-4 years there consistently, and so I was expecting that same thing again today. And you remember, James, I was not expecting us to beat City, and when we did, I told you this result is only going to mean something because it's a 38 game competition. If we go ahead and we actually continue to pick up the results and reflect the same amount of wins and be able to copy the same results that we got last season. So I find it very disappointing that we beat City and then for realistically 90 minutes we were crap.
Yeah, we were
We were
bad.
absolute crap.
I don't see it that way, man. I've got to be honest. I don't know about you, Taylor. I see it as City at home, Chelsea away, 4 points from 6. Fine.
Yeah, but that's on paper, James. That's
Yeah.
that's on paper. Like Chelsea away always sounds difficult. Even Arsenal away on paper always sounds difficult. But when teams like Liverpool and City were flying and they were competing for league titles, Arsenal away on paper sounds difficult. But when we were in that transitioning phase and we weren't a bad team, but we weren't a great team, we got humiliated. And so yes, it sounds good on paper, but we beat Chelsea last season. And this is a Chelsea team that, realistically speaking, even if you were to go man for man, you wouldn't say that they are the level of many of our players. They got Cole Palmer leading the line, and
Played well
so
today.
yeah, he did. But that was more, I think, to Pochettino getting tactically, I think, outclassed Arteta today. I think he went for the false nine. He wanted to have that numerical superiority in midfield in order to be able to counteract Zinchenko inverting, and Arteta didn't do anything to address that. When you have a false nine, usually what happens is that you draw your center backs, out of their position because it's difficult for them to know how to mark it. Therefore, you need a number 6 who can, neutralize that false nine. Jorginho wasn't it.
No, it wasn't.
Because you see Declan Rice having to come back and actually being the one to put in those tackles.
Yeah.
So you have to do one or two things there. Either you have to put in someone like Trossard for either Martinelli or Jesus, who operates, more easily in the middle of the park and to play with his back to goal to get another number there in midfield and take back control. Or you have to remove Jorginho, put Rice or Partey back in the 6 to be able to then neutralize that space right before the center back that the false nine and the rest of the midfield guys are trying to exploit.
I hear
Also,
that.
they forced us out. They forced us out wide because they have a bunch of numbers in midfield, so we can't create passes in between the lines. So then when we're forced out wide, two things happen. Either it triggers your press, and then that's it leads to mistakes, or you need to have your fullbacks go on the overlap to then try to create a numerical superiority in the wide areas. We did none of that. So for 60, 70 minutes, we're playing right into their hands. And I'm not a freaking manager. I've never done a coaching course, but this is pretty evident in what's going on that they are flooding the midfield and we're losing the midfield battle. It doesn't take a genius to understand you need to address that, and it wasn't addressed.
I agree they flooded the midfield. You've mentioned tactics. You've broken down exactly where you think it went wrong tactically. Turkish has touched on tactics. I'm the one who runs the Tactical Insight Show on AFTV with Graham. Trust me, we've all looked at the tactics, but I just wonder how much of it goes out the window when, in the first few minutes of the game, Zinchenko, basically passed it to another Chelsea player in the box. Declan Rice gave it away early on. You set a bad tone, and then everything we tried to do that was vaguely inventive, vaguely progressive, until that Saka whipped ball to the back post for Trossard, everything fell apart. Kai Havertz with underhit passes. Odegaard can do anything right today. I almost think Arteta could have looked at them, did a Sean Dyche, went 4-4-2. We could have said anything. It kept it as simple as you want. The point is, the players didn't do the basics right at all today. At all.
But that's why I say I find it very disappointing that we beat City and then we go ahead and we put in that performance against Chelsea. I played baseball over here in the States, and obviously a different sport, but I had a coach of mine who I was my coach for like 10 years. He once told me, I don't care about the physical mistakes. What I care about is the mental mistakes, because anybody can screw up. But when you're not on it, that's what I can't forgive.
You don't think the players were on it?
You talked about Zinchenko. Mate, you're in your own box and you're making a 3-yard pass to a guy that's also in the same penalty box when they're pressing you.
Yeah, it was poor. It was poor.
Like, if you tell me that, you're running in on goal and you see a guy who, you have to square it and you screw up the pass, okay, I'll get angry at you, but it was the right decision. Physical mistakes can happen, but those are mental mistakes. That shows me that you're not on it, that you're not concentrated.
Did you feel that?
And this team this season has been showing that a lot.
There is a difference in the mistakes he's talking about. I mean, if you're making mistakes trying to slot a through ball in, or trying to play a quick transition, I can understand that more than the mistakes that we are making.
It's like, the Jorginho mistake in the North London derby.
Yeah.
I would never in a million years have told him your best route out here is to dribble through the two players in the middle of the pitch while our centre-backs are split. That is physically got it wrong, but it's a mental error. There's no way he should ever have thought that was the way out. So I do hear what you're saying. Javi, I don't know kind of what to end on, because, I mean, we have ultimately nicked a point here. It is 6 wins, 3 draws. We are undefeated. I know I'm Mr. Let's look at the bright side, but I expected Chelsea to be good. I know you say that you also think they're a decent side. What positives do you take from this?
None, really. I mean, like, guys,
it's got to be something.
No, listen, football. I think football and maybe boxing are perhaps like the only sports in which statistics don't always necessarily win you the game. Right? Like, you can be a boxer, you can be getting absolutely pounded for 12 rounds, and all of a sudden you throw a punch, it lands, it hits the guy in the right spot, you knock him out. Football is actually one of those sports that sometimes you can, do a smash and grab, or you can walk away with a point or whatever, even though when you didn't deserve it at all. Chelsea were probably deserved to be 3-4-0 up by halftime. The positives that maybe I can take are the fact that Trossard continues to prove that he's a game changer. But does Arteta start him? We've seen Arteta actually play Trossard in midfield before, in that Smith Rowe role that he's wanted him to play. Has he utilized him at all this season, despite the fact that Havertz has never done well? So I don't know what positives to take. Turkish mentioned earlier that this is on Arteta, and again, this goes back to the summer transfer window. We're approaching, again, a very big game, and the goalkeeper who you brought in not only, I think, was responsible for the goal, but then he almost, gave an assist to Cole Palmer and just almost had him walking back in the net. I mean, this is the guy that you brought in. Clearly, that I'm sorry, lads, and it's not just that one game. It's been a couple of games now where he's looked shaky. That call is clearly, not working out for you. And the 65 million that you dropped on the replacement for Granit Xhaka, you don't have enough confidence to start him today.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that you bought for 40 million, where is he? I mean, where's Vieira?
Yeah, I need to actually have a little look at that. Javi, always a pleasure chatting to you, man, and appreciate kind of your thoughts on where you saw it. I know you're not pleased. That's fine. But yeah, Arsenal, they move on. Sevilla next week, and who have we got? I keep forgetting, but Sheffield United.
Sheffield United home.